Part 39. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 381. Suchen played the jade flute twice. Spend 100 gold coins to recharge the demon blood bottle, and then replenish the magic value. There is no water in. It seems that the order of playing is still wrong. This jade flute is quite tiring to hold in your hands for a long time. Suchen placed it on the jade stand and rested for a while. Suddenly, a series of kill notification sounds sounded in my mind. Ding! The player Viking has been killed by you. Doppelganger Black Dragon G Mengli Umbrella Girl Sakura get experience points *2100. Ding! The player Romeo and the Pig Spend the Night has been killed by you. Doppelganger Black Dragon G Mengli Umbrella Girl Sakura get experience points *1900. Ding! The player Eris Evil has been killed by you. Doppelganger Black Dragon G Mengli Umbrella Girl Sakura get experience points *2300. Ding! I wipe it. Suchen was a little confused when he looked at the tens of thousands of kills accumulated in an instant. When did I kill so many people? Has Dragon City already started a war? But the time and space fortress is connected to his mind, so he can't possibly not know whether the war has started or not. And looking at the names of the people killed, they are all players. Forget it, it's not the people from my freedom and independence camp who died anyway. Suchen ignored it. Turning around and looking at the two elves, I wanted to ask the Qing Emperor thousands of years ago if he had any special seals or stimulation methods when he played the jade flute. Well. Seeing Tyrande, Maiev, Isabella, and Andromer lying unconscious on the ground, Suchen was stunned. Tyrande and Maiev were in a dizzy state that lasted for 10 minutes and more than 20 minutes respectively. Isabella and Andomir were even more dizzy, lasting half an hour and 1 hour respectively. This is, what happened. Suchen blinked, frowned, and observed the space, but found nothing strange. He shook his head slightly and put the two elven pets into the pet space. The elven queen and elven princess could only continue to lie on the floor, falling asleep. Suchen took a deep breath and began to carefully observe the jade frame and jade flute. Looking from all directions. When he looked at the jade frame diagonally from below, the 4 lines of characters on the jade frame were respectively projected into the jade flute. Suchen tried to move the jade flute gently and aimed the sound hole of the jade flute at the words. He made some corrections. Finally, the projections of all 4 lines of characters on the jade flute were each aimed at a sound hole. So that's it? Written down the projection sequence, Suchen picked up the jade flute again and started playing. Immediately, a melodious and beautiful flute sound sounded from the jade flute. The elf queen and elf princess who were sleeping on the ground slowly woke up. Outside the area the fainted NPCs and players in Yuchen also got up from the ground in surprise and astonishment. The army of the 6 Realms camp, which was in chaos thousands of miles away, returned to normal amidst the beautiful flute music. Millions of players and NPC armies were shocked and inexplicable. But I felt a sense of leisurely fascination with the sound of the flute coming from a distance. On the contrary, the expressions of dozens of elders from various religious forces had just softened, and their bodies were suddenly shaken. This flute sound is exactly the same as the Qingdi flute sound I heard thousands of years ago. The Qing Emperor was defeated thousands of years ago and cannot be reborn. Who is playing the jade flute? No matter who it is, the sound of Qing Emperor's flute reappearing in the divine continent is definitely not a good sign. Everyone, report it to the Pope immediately. The earth shook, the sounds roared, and now the sound of the Qing Emperor's flute reappeared. I think the attack on the elves in Jiyu City should be slow for now. Yes, let's first find out what happened in Jiyu City thousands of miles away, and then we can make a plan to deal with it. Well, let's report it to the Pope. Within the space. Suchan played the sound holes corresponding to the 4 lines of text in sequence, and he felt refreshed and indescribably comfortable. Then it was played again. I didn't expect that after blowing it for a second time, this thing would become addictive. At the same time, the words on the jade frame kept popping up in my mind: the Dragon King is extremely strong, the spirit is extremely soft, hardness and softness complement each other, heaven and earth are in harmony. As I blew, the meaning of these 16 words unknowingly merged into the beautiful flute. In the sound, Suchan only felt that his whole body was filled with warmth, and waves of supreme strength burst out from the blood in his body. The power of Dragon King's bloodline had never been felt so clearly before. Unknowingly, he played it a third, fourth, and fifth time. His breath became heavier and heavier, his skin became redder and redder, his body temperature became higher and higher, and his eyes became redder and redder. Behind him, the elf Queen Isabella and the elf Princess Andomire, who had just woken up, also became intoxicated and somewhat confused. In Jiu City, millions of NPCs and players gradually began to go crazy amid the beautiful and mysterious flute sounds. The elves, who had reproduced asexually for millions of years, actually became entangled with each other. It's like the players have eaten the strongest version of I love a piece of firewood, who cares about the player's NPC trees, vines, all rushed forward desperately. Because of the game's built-in rule that players of the opposite sex cannot interact with each other, for a while, Jiu City flashed with thunder and lightning. Those players of the opposite sex hugging each other were directly struck back to the resurrection point by lightning. A long distance away, the millions of troops from the 6 realms began to stir up amidst the changing sound of the flute. The powerful elders of various religions first noticed something was wrong. No. This flute sound has the power of lust. Tell people to disperse. However, it was already too late. When Suchan's flute began to play for the 9th time, millions of troops began to entangle with red eyes. Men and men were entangled, which was fine. Those who were ridden by their own horses, the players and NPCs whose pets ride on them, are the most miserable and pitiful. If Suchan could see all this, he would definitely sacrifice Jechu's chrysanthemum terrace to them. Dozens of elders from various religious forces fled far away. Looking back at the miserable and devastated army, his face was extremely gloomy. When the majestic and tall dragon-blooded horses straddled the level 80 Judgment Army knights and screamed hard, these elders knew that the attack on the elves' millions of troops, finished. Report everything here to the popes of all religions. The jade flute of the Blue Emperor reappears, the total war strategy must make some changes. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 382. Starting from obtaining Dragon King bloodline. Suchan has never been affected by any negative status. Even with the power of system rules in the general space, the Dragon King's bloodline can contend to the point where the negative status flickers. Coupled with the fact that he possesses the general level adaptive resistance, he has become much less vigilant towards certain things. When he played the jade flute over and over again, unconsciously, the 3 magic replenishments of Demon Blood Bottle have been used up. Unknowingly, he was using the power of his own blood to play the flute. In the entire Divine Continent, the only one who can influence Suchan, who has the Dragon Emperor's bloodline, is Qing Emperor, who also has the Dragon Emperor's bloodline. How can the music score on this jade stand be so simple that it can be played casually? When Suchan suddenly noticed something strange about himself, he could no longer control his body shape. With a clang, the jade flute fell to the ground. Suchan, who was red and hot all over and had a heavy breath, felt as if there were billions of volcanoes about to erupt in his body. But no matter what, I can't find an outlet to vent and explode. He walked around the space extremely impatiently, and suddenly saw the elf Queen Isabella and elf Princess Andromir sitting on the ground, who were also confused and infatuated. For a moment, Suchan's mind went blank. Roaring low, like a wild beast, he rushed towards them. The Dragon King is extremely strong, the spirit is extremely soft, hardness and softness complement each other, and heaven and earth are in harmony. Suchen calmed down, holding the exhausted elf queen and elf princess in his arms, and softly recited these 4 sentences on the jade stand. It turns out, Qing Emperor's old and uncultivated man used the elf royal family as a guide to calm the mighty power of the Dragon King's bloodline. In this way, I cannot be affected by the violent evil thoughts of the ancient power in the jade flute and completely control this ancient artifact Fate Star Ancient Jade Flute. Suchen turned the foot-long jade flute on his fingertips with a slight smile on his lips. It actually no longer feels as strenuous as before. The heaviness of the jade flute and the phenomena that frequently disturbed the surrounding space have disappeared. Fate Star Ancient Jade Flute. Grade, Ancient Level. Player Restrictions, King's Landing. Bloodline Restrictions, Dragon Emperor Bloodline. Level Requirements, None. Function, after playing the Jade Flute, you can summon the 12 ancient beings sleeping in the divine world, and have extreme there is a high probability of making them work for me. The strength of the 12 ancient beings are all at the main god level. Note, before the Dragon King's bloodline is neutralized, the player cannot summon ancient existences. At the same time, he will be affected by the violent evil thoughts of the ancient power of the Jade Flute, and will lose his self-awareness and become a walking zombie. If the Jade Flute is forcibly driven, it will cause space disturbances and a demonic sound to roar throughout the world, with a range as far as thousands of miles. Description: a mysterious thing from ancient times can actually awaken an ancient tyrannical existence. However, such a powerful existence has always been tolerated by the gods and demons of the 6 realms. Once summoned, it may cause the 6 realms to descend on the abyss in advance and completely destroy the divine continent. After reading the introduction of the properties of this jade flute again, Suchen still felt a little scared. Fortunately, Isabella and Andomeyer entered the space with me. If I was affected by the violent evil thoughts of this jade flute, and there was no bloodline of the elf royal family to neutralize it, maybe I would really be turned into a corpse by this jade flute. A walking corpse. At the same time, he also understood why tens of thousands of players were suddenly killed by him. I am afraid that in all likelihood, he forcibly activated the jade flute, causing space disturbances and the roar of magical sounds, causing casualties to these hostile players. It's just that there are a few people who died, there are millions of troops from the 6 realms besieging the elves, and there are countless players. In the end, such a weak player died. It seems that the so-called magic sound of the jade flute is not that good. Suchen curled his lips, feeling that Jade's descriptive vocabulary was a bit bragging. However, if he could know the miserable scene thousands of miles away, he probably wouldn't have said that. Where the armies of the 6 realms attacking the elves were arrayed. Countless players, Judgment Army, Soul Generals, Demon Riders, killed their mounts with their own hands in tears. Otherwise, the shadow and tremendous pain of being ridden by their own mounts would probably haunt them for the rest of their lives. There will be no more millions of armies. No fighting spirit has been lost. Even some NPCs have turned against players or companions who had been involved with them before. After all, in this world, people with normal sexual orientation still account for the vast majority. Especially in the world of God's domain, which advocates power, even more he can't tolerate the existence of a gay with whom he has such a close relationship. Well, if the overly masculine world of God's domain can be improved by the sissy culture on Earth, there should be less fighting and killing. A lot. A player who was lucky enough to escape, after waking up, secretly turned on the built-in video recording function of the game, recorded the miserable scene here, and uploaded it to the forum as soon as possible. Moreover, the very naughty setting requires payment to watch. The title is Sensational Millions of Troops, Online QJ. Minors are not allowed to watch. Dozens of elders from the forces of the 6 realms camp, with gloomy faces, ordered their troops to retreat. This battle can't be fought anymore. Ding. Server-wide announcement. The Six Realms camp's attack on the elves failed and the entire army retreated. The sudden announcement shocked billions of players across the server. Even Suchen was a little surprised. What's the situation? Brother, I didn't do anything. Why did the army of the Six Realms attacking the elves fail? Soon, Yun Feiyan, Zunlong and others all sent congratulations to Suchen. In the exclusive channel of the Free and Independent Camp, there was a line of people saying Junlin boss is awesome. After all, everyone knows that Suchen went to the elves, and he went there specifically to conquer the elves and join the alliance. In a short period of time, he not only conquered the proud elves, but also defeated millions of people from the Six Realms. The camp army is really impressive. The cute little white rabbit was even more curious and asked how Suchen defeated an army of millions. Other players immediately lined up in the channel to add one. Suchen smiled bitterly and shook his head. Said in the channel, I don't know, I really don't know. The boss of Junlin is humble. The boss is too low-key. One person defeated thousands of armies, subdued the elves, and did such a big thing quietly, but he was still so low-key. Tisk tisk, is this the real boss? Salute to the boss. Learn from the boss. It wasn't until the half-awake fox with a strange look on his face suddenly sent Suchen a video link for him to watch that Suchen seemed to understand something. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 383. I wipe it? Is it so exciting? After spending 1 silver coin, Suchen was a little dumbfounded after watching the video. Looking at the scenes of countless fierce men crying in the video, Suchen felt a little cruel. It turns out that by forcibly activating the jade flute, the power of the demonic sound is so powerful. It's a pity that this kind of forced stimulation will kill 1,000 enemies and damage himself 800. Suchen himself can't stand the influence of such violent evil thoughts. Otherwise, just using the characteristics of the jade flute to fight against the enemy will definitely be it's not good after 100 attempts. Suchen played with the jade flute in his hand, his eyes a little complicated. By playing the jade flute, you can summon 12 ancient beings with strength reaching the main god level. However, it will also open the abyss in advance, allowing hundreds of millions of gods and demons to come to the world. It seems that we can only use this jade flute when we have unified the entire divine continent and are fully prepared to welcome the land of Tianyuan. At the same time, Suchen was a little moved by the word Star of Destiny on the ancient jade flute of Destiny Star. This was the second time he saw the word Fate Star. This is absolutely not found in the official online game information of Shinai Company. When the public transportation team decrypted the nameplate of the ancient demon ape before, they recognized the words Fate Star and Time and Space Fortress. Obviously, the Fate Star can be confirmed to be the same place. I just don't know if this place refers to the god's domain continent in ancient times, or if it is somewhere else. And the ancient people must have come from this so-called Fate Star. Putting away the jade flute, Isabella and Andomeyer also slowly woke up. The few of them were tender for a moment. The elf queen Isabella, who cared about the ethnic group, raised her head and looked up at Suchen, and said softly, "Husband, I heard that the 7 major principalities of the human race and the beast tribe have all moved to the commercial principality, following the husband's shrinking front. Strategy. Should our elves also move to the commercial principality?" Elf Princess Andomeyer hugged Suchen's arm tightly and said, "Of course we will move. Mother, leave this matter to Andomeyer. I will definitely do it beautifully." Andomeyer, who had just accepted Jun's favor, urgently wanted to show his capable side in front of Suchen, so as not to lower his status in Suchen's heart. Isabella shook her head slightly and said, although the large teleportation array can teleport subjects, even the ancient tree of war can teleport. But the ancient tree of life, the root of our clan, is too huge to use the teleportation array. Although the ancient tree of life we can walk on our own, but over a distance of tens of thousands of miles, if we are attacked by the Six Realms camp, our clan will not be far from destruction. Andomir's face wrinkled and he was lost in thought. Suchen kissed her smooth forehead and said with a smile, it doesn't matter, just temporarily place the ancient tree of life in Dragon City. The two women were shocked. Dragon City? Isn't it further away? Suchen smiled and thought to himself, as soon as you move, the space transmission device of the Time and Space Fortress is activated immediately. Send the coordinates to locate the sky above Jiyu City. You will know later. Walking out of the space, Suchen found a group of elven elders waiting outside, all looking a little embarrassed among themselves. Thinking of the magic sound of the jade flute that I caused before, could it be that, among these elven elders, there is something wrong? Fortunately, they probably didn't know that they were the culprits. Suchen coughed lightly and led everyone to Jiyu City. I was shocked to find that the entire atmosphere of Jiyu City seemed to have become different. There was a strange smell in the air. I'm a good boy, the whole city wasn't here just now. Suchen coughed even harder. The elf princess Andomir thought that Suchen was sick, so she quickly used the elf royal family's innate skill life dedication to bless Suchen. Ding! You obtain the only talent skill life dedication used by elf princess Andromir. The life of elf princess Andromir has been closely linked to yours. Your upper limit of health has been increased by 1 million. Bloodline of the Dragon King. The true dragon body's blood regeneration per second has been increased to the upper limit of life *16%. Andomir's actions shocked all the elven elders. Life dedication is a unique talent skill of the elf royal family. Generally used on oneself, it can increase a certain life limit and blood recovery speed. Once it is used on others, the life and death of the person who performed the spell will depend on that person. If the person being cast dies, the caster will die as well. It is a true selfless dedication skill. And an elf royal can only use it once in his life. Unexpectedly, Andomir, who is an elf princess, would actually give his life to Suchen. However, thinking of Suchen's great kindness to the elves, the elders did not say anything. Unexpectedly, not long after, the elf queen Isabella also used her only life dedication to bless Suchen. Ding! You obtain the only talent skill life dedication performed by elven queen Isabella. The life of elf queen Isabella has been closely linked to you. Your upper limit of health has been increased by 10 million. Bloodline of the Dragon King. The true dragon body's blood return per second has been increased to the upper limit of life *17%. Isabella is much stronger than her daughter, so the maximum life limit is increased 10 times. Andomir glanced at his mother, and felt a hint of competition for favor. She couldn't help but move her lips, and used the secret sound technique to say to Isabella, "Mother, how can you learn how to use life dedication from me? You are my dearest and most respected mother, please don't compete with your daughter, okay?" Isabella didn't dare to look at her daughter, and said with a guilty conscience, "Well, I just see that my husband is a little weak, so I want him to get better soon. Don't think too much about it." Andomir pouted with a smile on his face of disbelief. The little behavior between the two women made Suchen a little funny and a little surprised. Unexpectedly, there are such benefits. Not only is the upper limit of life increased by 11 million, but the blood recovery speed is also increased by an additional 2%. At this moment, the void shook slightly. The huge time and space fortress was teleported to the sky above Jiyu City, floating quietly. Suchen smiled and said, "Dragon City has arrived, let's start moving." Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 384. Summon the clone umbrella girl Sakura. The latter immediately used the power of illusion to build a huge floating staircase between the time and space fortress in the air and Gu City. In the eyes of everyone in Gu City, I saw a giant staircase with a width of 1,000 meters, extending from the gate of Gu City, straight into the void of the sky. With the cover of illusion and level 4 time and space shield, no one can detect Suchen's time and space fortress even if it appears in front of everyone. The top is Dragon City, let the ancient tree of life go up first. The rest went to the commercial principality as quickly as possible through the teleportation array Suchen ordered. Elf Queen Isabella looked at the scene in great shock. Although she didn't know what was in the void of the sky, she was now Suchen's woman, so she naturally trusted her man 100%. At that moment, Isabella used the elf scepter to awaken the ancient tree of life. Suddenly, the entire Gu City began to shake. Tree roots hundreds of meters thick rose up from the ground. The earth cracked and buildings collapsed. Covering the entire city, a huge ancient tree of life, 1/3 of the area of Gu City, shook the tree body and branches and leaves, creating a hurricane in the sky, uprooting the roots buried deep in the earth one by one, and turned into countless giant legs to stand up. Little, Shat. An old face appeared on the thousands-meter thick trunk of the ancient tree of life. Looking at the elf queen, she slowly spoke. "I just took a nap, why, are we moving again?" Isabella said with great respect. "Shuziu, you have been napping for 1,000 years. Yes, we elves are migrating again. The forces of the Six Realms camp have launched a full-scale war against all races in the Divine Realm. We must move to the commercial principality and unite with other tribes to jointly fight against the invasion of the Six Realm camp." "Oh, that's it, the Six Realms are really disgusting, little Isa. Don't worry, I have a very good personal relationship with Emperor Qing. Let him take charge of the Six Realms, there will be no war. Got it?" A group of elven elders. Isabella said with an embarrassed face. "Shu ancestor, you have forgotten, when our elves migrated to Gu City 1,000 years ago, the Qing Emperor had already dismissed his troops." The old face on the ancient tree of life showed a look of shock, followed by a look of sadness. "That's right, he was defeated. When I heard this news 1,000 years ago, I took a nap sadly." Suchen. Seeing the old eyelids of the ancient tree of life gradually closing, Isabella was afraid that he would be so sad that he fell asleep again, so she quickly said, "Shu ancestor, time is running out. Please move to Dragon City. We will pick you up when you get to the commercial principality." "All right." The ancient tree of life slowly turned around, followed Isabella's guidance, and looked at the giant stairs higher than him, and his body suddenly shook wildly. For a time, the branches and leaves 3,000 meters high trembled, triggering another violent hurricane high in the sky. Countless fallen leaves floated down, instantly covering Gu City with a thick layer of time and space fortress. The ancient tree of life looked at the nothingness at the end of the stairs, its old eyes widened. His eyes were filled with shock and memories. Suchen on the side was also shocked. "This guy can actually see my time and space fortress? It is clear that level 4 time and space shield can even be sensed by the God Lord, or can he see through Yingying's illusion? 1 million years, 10 million years, or 100 million years? I can't remember, I never thought I could see my birthplace again." The ancient tree of life murmured, looking at the time and space fortress suspended in the void, and fell into long-lasting memories. Suchen, the elf queen, the elf princess and others were shocked when they heard this. "How come the dragon city that your husband mentioned became the birthplace of Tree Ancestor? Could it be that Tree Ancestor has become an old fool?" the elf princess Andomire thought to herself. Suchen didn't think so. The ancient tree of life has a long lifespan. Since he said such words, it must be related to the ancient magic ape and the time and space fortress. But now there are too many eyes. Miscellaneous, this is not the time to ask. Suchen planned to wait until the ancient tree of life reached the time and space fortress before making any inquiries. Let's go, climb up to the time and space fortress, and settle there for a while, Suchen urged from the side. Hearing Suchen's voice, the ancient tree of life turned around slowly. Unexpectedly, when he saw Suchen's appearance, the entire huge tree body was so shaken that it retreated continuously. Each tree was hundreds of years old. Meter-thick tree roots trampled on countless buildings. Qing Emperor. Didn't you end the war? Why are you still alive? The old face of the ancient tree of life looked at Suchen, full of shock, and then showed great joy. Suchen. WDNMD. My name is Junlin, not Kingdi, Suchen said calmly. The elf princess Andomire put her hand on her forehead and said secretly, the tree ancestor is really confused. The ancient tree of life laughed at an extremely slow speed. I understand, Qing Emperor. Oh no, I should call you your new name, Junlin. Haha, you should have built this time and space fortress, it's very good, it looks like it did when I was born. Got it? While talking, he even winked at Suchen mischievously, looking like an old friend. Suchen. At this moment, 3 consecutive server-wide announcements floated in front of all players around the world. Ding. Server-wide announcement. The army of the Six Realms camp has captured the Principality of the Cavalry Bagwan City. Ding. Server-wide announcement. The army of the Six Realms camp has captured Jacehan Principality Huangsha City. Ding. Server-wide announcement. The army of the Six Realms camp has captured the Orcs Jinghong City. Damn, there's a war going on. Who has time to listen to your chatter here? Suchen looked at the towering ancient tree of life and said angrily, can't you go up? If not, I will drive away the time and space fortress. Up, up, up. The ancient tree of life said quickly, I haven't sat in the time and space fortress in 100 million years. This is my home. The ancient tree of life moved its countless huge roots and climbed up the 1,000-meter-wide fantasy staircase. Although he moves slowly, because of his huge size, one step is equivalent to thousands or tens of thousands of other people's steps, so his speed is not slow. Seeing the huge figure of the ancient tree of life gradually disappearing into the void at the end of the stairs, Suchen ordered the elf queen and others to move the elves to the commercial principality as soon as possible. Then he flashed back to the time and space fortress, and immediately activated the space teleportation device to head to the royal city of the commercial prince. In Jiyu City, dozens of ancient war trees with semi-god level strength were also awakened one after another and stepped into the giant space teleportation array that was opened urgently. The entire elves were mobilized. The elf guards on the front line were also called back. The army of the Six Realms that happened to attack Jiyu City retreated in full because of King Di Jade Flute. Millions of powerful elf warriors geared up and headed to the royal city of the merchant prince. At the same time, the 6 major principalities of the human race, the beast race, and the dwarf race also moved their families to the commercial principality. Bagwan City captured by the Six Realms camp, Huangsha City, Jinghong City. Because the relocation has been completed long ago, the combat power of the free and independent camp has not actually suffered much loss. There is still more than an hour until the game goes offline. A huge racial migration is unfolding across the entire Divine Continent in accordance with Suchen's strategic shrinkage policy. As for the army of the Six Realms camp, except for the elves, the rest of the fronts had not suffered any attacks. No resistance, almost invincible, pushed all the way. More and more cities of the free and independent camp were captured by the Six Realms camp. In the World Channel and online game forums, there was a chorus of cheers for progress. There are players from Country R and Country M, and they even played Unify the Divine Continent before going offline. The slogan Exterminate the Independent Camp in 1 hour. The Six Circles camp on the internet are jubilant. The free and independent camp is dejected. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 385. It didn't take long. Several more server-wide announcements sounded. The orcs and humans were defeated for several more cities. The function of the teleportation array not only allowed Suchen's side to relocate quickly, but also allowed the Six Realms camp army to advance faster. Although the independent camp destroyed the teleportation array in the city when they moved away. But it won't take much time for the Six Realms camp to rebuild the giant space teleportation array. And because the forces of the Six Realms camp have established branch churches almost all over the continent, the coordinate points required for space teleportation are also easily accessible. How many minutes has it been? Our Six Realm camp has captured 2 more cities. My army of 6 realms is mighty. Ha ha ha. At this rate, we may be able to get the rewards of total war victory before we go offline. Well, to be honest, this feeling of winning by lying down is really not bad. Guys, can you please slow down? I still haven't passed the last dungeon. I'll wait for another 2 hours and join the Six Worlds camp immediately after changing jobs. Can I have a drink of soup as well? Then you can't drink. The blame lies with the Freedom and Independence camp, which is so rubbish that they all ran away without even fighting. I followed the army and marched through 5 cities. The sword in my hand was not stained with blood yet. It's different from the cheerful atmosphere on the internet. The atmosphere here in the 20-Nation Alliance is a bit solemn. Have you checked it out? Why are the human and orc cities empty? Also, where did Dragon City go? Why has the entire broken Dream Island not been found yet? In the virtual conference hall, the war overlord asked in a deep voice. In all previous battles with Suchen, the war overlord and others ended in disastrous defeats. They would not be so stupid as to think that Suchen and his Freedom and Independence camp would be so easy. Destroyed by the Six Realms camp. This scene of effortlessly conquering several cities gave them a sense of unreality and uneasiness. A full-time intelligence officer working in the FBI of Country M opened a PPT image on the stage. Said judging from the cities currently occupied, the people in the independent camp evacuated before our army arrived. Moreover, the evacuation process was very orderly, which can be judged from the scene inside the occupied city. If we flee in a panic, the city will definitely be in chaos, and it will not be as clean and tidy as it is now. The intelligence personnel showed photos of the interior of the occupied city on the video. Then he pulled up a photo of the city of the commercial principality. In the photo, the city was bustling with people, and NPC warriors of all races were preparing their weapons everywhere. He continued, this photo was taken by us using chess pieces arranged in the independent camp. And this is only the scene of the border city of the commercial principality. Its key cities and the royal city, the main battle and elite players of the non-independent camp cannot enter. Our people can't get the internal information of these cities yet. However, from this information alone, it can be analyzed that the free and independent camp did not flee in panic, but retreated in an orderly manner. The opponent obviously predicted our army's strategic intentions very accurately, and thus concentrated all its forces on the commercial principality with the most advantageous position. After preliminary analysis by our intelligence department, the other party wants to shrink the defense line, gather the strongest strength, and have an ultimate battle with us on the commercial principality. The words of the intelligence officer made the leaders of the 20-Nation Alliance Guild and the government personnel in the conference hall nod one after another. The war overlord looked gloomy. Kuroda Ifu also looked solemn. They all had the experience of fighting Suchen several times. Naturally. He knows what kind of person Suchen is. He is a strong man with countless trump cards, who can always defeat more with less and come back against the odds. I am afraid that the current commercial principality has been turned into a dragon pool and a tiger's den. God knows what terrifying things are there, waiting for them. Then, what about Dragon City? Is there any news? Faced with the war overlord's inquiry, the intelligence officer slowly shook his head. The disappearance of Dragon City and Broken Dream Island is extremely strange. There is no news about it so far. We can only know from some players' words that it can move at will, but no one knows where it is now, whether in the air or in the water. The key is even the 3 core guilds of Dragon City. Players, they themselves don't know where Dragon City is now. The war overlord side, this is the most difficult part. The enemy is hidden and we are clear. If we cannot lock the position of Dragon City, King's Landing will always be in an invincible position. This battle of total war will never be defeated. It may be over. For a moment, the entire conference hall fell into solemn silence. The FBI intelligence officer suddenly laughed and said, "Actually, the staff generals of our department and the Ministry of National Defense have also deduced several trends in the all-out war. Currently, there are 2 relatively reliable ways to track and eliminate Dragon City. One is to use the Great Prophecy technique of the Pope of Light, but whether it can be successful has yet to be verified. The other is that when Dragon City also participates in the battle, its position will inevitably be exposed. However, if we want to destroy Dragon City, we must make sufficient preparations and kill all the minions and alliances in King's Landing. Moreover, we must not underestimate the wisdom of NPCs in this online game world. I believe that the agent forces in the 6 Realms camp are also making corresponding strategic adjustments. In the time and space fortress Broken Dream Island, the 3,000-meter high ancient tree of life is rooted in the west of Broken Dream Island, corresponding to Long Cheng. Old friend, can you please discuss and let me stay in your time and space fortress? I am not just a freeloader. I can increase the life recovery speed of all creatures here, and at the same time, I can continuously provide life springs and magic springs. Your independent space should have been created, right? With Loken here, your independent spaces don't need to communicate with the outside world to absorb energy and life elements. Loken can provide them all. This not only greatly improves the concealment of the independent spaces, but also doesn't charge you a copper coin, the ancient tree of life chattered. This scene shocked Suchan. He never expected that this guy would not leave after entering his time and space fortress. And it was the first time that Suchan discovered that this guy also, in order to stay in the time and space fortress, he would brag about his role and ability and engage in interest exchange. He was completely different from the senile, half-asleep, and confused person before. He was very shrewd. Moreover, he even revealed Suchan's independent space in one sentence. Pros and cons. Could it be that this guy was really born from the fortress of time and space? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 386. In the time and space fortress, it is not a bad thing to have an ancient tree of life with a lifespan of hundreds of millions of years. As this guy said, all creatures in the fortress, including the independent space created by Suchan, can benefit. In particular, the life spring water and magic spring water provided by the ancient tree of life can become Suchan's high-end special edition blood bottles and magic bottles in the future. As for the elves, they can definitely move into Broken Dream Island. It's just to open another city for them on the island. The area of Broken Dream Island is 100 times that of Dragon City. Building another Dragon City is only that big of a deal. What's more, the entire Elven clan is now loyal to Suchan, so there is no problem with reliability. Thinking of this, Suchan said to the ancient tree of life, "It's not impossible to stay in the fortress of time and space. You have to tell me why you stay here, and why you know so much about the fortress of time and space." "Ah, old friend, haven't you asked this question before?" "Oh, okay, you are not the Qing Emperor, you are the King Lin." Let me say it again, the ancient tree of life fell into long-lasting memories. I remember that at that time, I was just one of the tens of thousands of plants in the experimenter's cultivation room. Those kind-hearted experimenters not only opened up a separate independent space for us, but also set up the most suitable light, air, energy, and nutrients. Haha, that was when I was happiest and most carefree. The ancient tree of life's first words made Suchen fall into an extremely shocked state. Damn, is this a freak created in a laboratory? The so-called ancient tree of life was cultivated by experimenters. And it has survived for hundreds of millions of years. He even created an entire race on his own. Who is the experimenter you are talking about? Suchen asked. Being interrupted by Suchen's memory made the ancient tree of life a little unfinished. He paused and replied, the experimenter is a person in the time and space fortress who is responsible for various research projects in the laboratory. Oh, although their race is similar in appearance to your race, they are much larger, and after death, they will grow hair all over their bodies. Hearing the explanation of the ancient tree of life, Suchen was once again deeply shocked. He immediately thought of the 3,000-meter-tall ancient ape that he and Gongshaban had seen underground in the Naga imperial city before. The description of the ancient tree of life is exactly the same. Moreover, Gongshaban also has a thin ancient bloodline. Although he is not that big, his body will be covered with long hair after death. The ancient tree of life continued in the independent space cultivation room. The experiment members teach us their language, their knowledge, and even guide us to absorb various energies. It's a pity that the knowledge of the Ming clan is vast. I tried my best, but I can only understand their language. I can't understand the knowledge that conquers the heaven and earth at all. Life clan? These ancient people call themselves the Ming clan? Do you understand their language? Suchen asked with some surprise. Well, Ming Xing, Ming clan, they named their home planet after their own clan name. Although hundreds of millions of years have passed, I still will not forget the language of these benefactors. It can also be said to be my mother tongue. Oh, by the way, I later used the Ming clan language as the basis to create the Elvish language. It's strange that the elf children I raised couldn't master the Ming clan language. Maybe I can master it, which is also a kind of luck. The ancient tree of life sighed with emotion. Life star. It turns out that the so-called fate star is really a planet different from the divine continent. Suchen was confused and suddenly understood. With a thought in his mind, he took out a nameplate from the backpack space. This nameplate was obtained from the disappeared ancient ape. Suchen showed the nameplate to the ancient tree of life. Asked, can you recognize the words on this? Seeing this nameplate, the ancient tree of life was very excited. Ah, this is the nameplate of the time and space fortress attendant, I recognize it. What is written above is Destiny Star number 9527, Advanced Time and Space Fortress Duty Officer. Old friend, where did you get this nameplate? The high-level Space-Time Fortress Duty Officer of Fate Star No 9527, Suchen was a little stunned. I wonder if that 3,000-meter-tall giant ape is an ordinary time and space fortress duty officer? Well, I got it from the underground of Naga Imperial City. The body of this watchman has been turned into fly ash, and the heart of time and space has also disappeared. Suchen replied, well, do you know this person, Gongshaban? He also has a thin trace of ancient blood. Well, the ancient tree of life sighed, and a look of sadness appeared on its old face. It seems that the Ming clan has not been able to escape the tidal catastrophe. I have never heard of the name Gongshaban, but thinking about it, it must be the Ming clan who knows how to hide. But it's just the product of tidal catastrophe, a failed attempt to pass down his bloodline. In fact, even myself is just a product of the Ming clan's desire to continue their civilization. The Ming clan wanted to pass on the civilization of the Ming clan through us surviving the tidal catastrophe. Unfortunately, in the end, I was the only one who survived, and, apart from the language, I was not able to pass on any knowledge. Tidal catastrophe. Suchen's pupils suddenly shrank, his brows furrowed, and he said, What is the tidal catastrophe? Tidal catastrophe. The ancient tree of life showed a look of pain and fear in its eyes that was a catastrophe for all living creatures in the entire world. I don't know the specific reason, but I have heard these 4 words from the Ming clan people countless times. The tidal catastrophe is so terrifying. Suchen said in a deep voice, how scary is it? The ancient life tree trembled. I am the only one who has truly survived from the Ming clan era to now. Do you think it's scary or not? Suchen. There are very few people who can live for hundreds of millions of years. Ocean overlords like Leviathan only lived for millions of years. So how did you escape the tidal catastrophe? Suchen asked in a different way. I don't know either. The ancient tree of life slowly shook its branches above its head, with a look of confusion in its eyes. Before the tidal catastrophe, I slept for a while. When I woke up, the world was completely different. Suchen. After being speechless for a while, Suchen said, you can stay, but you have to teach me the language and writing of the Ming clan. I remember I taught you. Oh, you are Junlin, not Kingdi, so I will teach you again. The ancient tree of life stretched out a branch and slowly pointed it above Suchen's eyebrows. Ding. Ancient tree of life teaches you the Ming clan common language. The current teaching time is 7 days. The player Junlin has a qualification star level of 1410 stars, which can be accelerated 282 times. The teaching time takes 36 minutes. Do you want to start teaching? Suchen thought for a while, and he could still afford to spend 36 minutes now. He doesn't need to worry about the migration of the elves and the defense layout of each tribe at the moment. Moreover, Ming clan common language is related to his search for ancient secrets, and it is of great use. Receive the teaching immediately. Ding. The teaching begins. Online games. I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 387. As the prompt sounds, countless messages were flowing like streams along the branches of the ancient tree of life, pouring into the center of Suchen's brows. Different from comprehending the fragments of the heavenly book, Suchen can still act and think normally while learning the common language of the Ming clan. The ancient tree of life babbled while teaching well. 36 minutes, it seems that you are not fully awakened. No wonder you call yourself King Lin, not Qing Emperor. Thousands of years ago, when Qing Emperor learned the lingua franca of the Ming clan, he finished it in 3 minutes. It scared me so much. The old man has lived for 100 million years. Qing Emperor's qualifications are truly unparalleled in ancient and modern times. But for me, your 36 minutes are pretty good. After all, it took me 400 years to learn the common language of the Ming clan. Just when the ancient tree of life was chanting, a system prompt suddenly sounded in Suchen's mind. Ding. Congratulations on triggering a lucky event. Teaching time acceleration. 1 second later, the transfer is completed. Ding. Teaching success. Congratulations on obtaining Ming clan common language. Suchen. I go. Can this thing also trigger the acceleration of lucky events? All added up, it only took less than 30 seconds. If he could study at this speed during the college entrance examination, King Bei would be nothing. The branches of the ancient tree of life still pointed towards Suchen's eyebrows. He is too old and has experienced too many things. When he meets Suchen, his former old friend, he will inevitably talk too much. However, in the training room back then, Lao Chen had the best academic performance, and the lab staff often praised him. Why can't it be taught? Is this branch broken? The ancient tree of life swung its branches, and then pointed at the center of Suchen's eyebrows. Suchen. Why can't it be taught? Suchen pulled off his branch. The teaching is over, don't poke me. How can it end so quickly? It's only 36 minutes. It's only been half a minute. Although I'm old, I'm not old and stupid yet. Suchen rolled his eyes and said to him in the common language of the Ming clan: I said, the teaching is over, you can do whatever you need to do. I'm very busy, see you soon. After saying that, he flashed and disappeared. The ancient tree of life was left stunned on the spot. It took him a long time to react. The teaching was really successful. But this only lasts half a minute. It's 6 times faster than King Di back then. Immediately afterwards, the ancient tree of life shook, and surprise and anger appeared on its old face. What a Qing emperor! It is clear that he has fully awakened, and his qualifications are even better than before, but he still lied to the old man about not awakening. The ancient tree of life stretched out a branch. On the branch, there were 9 light clusters blooming with dazzling light. They were none other than fragments of the heavenly book. And there were 9 of them in one shot. Humph, I know that you like these fragments of heavenly book very much. Next time I see you, if I still don't admit that you are the Qing emperor, I won't give you these fragments of heavenly book. See if you still dare to play tricks on me, haha. Thinking of the proud and happy place, the huge branches on the top of the ancient tree of life swayed again, and there was another strong wind above the time and space fortress. The main palace of Dragon City. Suchen began to receive the Tears of God and Resurrection Interference Technique scrolls from the 7 principalities of the human race. There are a total of 51 copies of Tears of God and 192 copies of Resurrection Interference. Including the 9 copies of Tears of God's Cry in Suchen's backpack, he now has a total of 60 copies of the demigod level Tears of God with a damage power of 50 million points. Just when he was about to fuse, the administrative officer brought another big box. Dear City Lord, this box of potions was sent by a person named Saint Thief Chi. He said that he couldn't help much during the current war. What does it mean to send a box of potions? Saint Thief. Suchen was slightly surprised. He didn't expect that this guy would actually send something at this time. With his deceitful character, Suchen was really curious about what good things he could send. He immediately opened the box. Ding. You get advanced potent poison *10. Ding. You get advanced potent tiger and wolf agent *10. Ding. You get advanced strong ecstasy incense *10. What the hell is this in a box of poison? Tiger and wolf medicine? Ecstasy. Seeing these things, Suchen confirmed on the spot that this was really sent by that bastard Saint Thief Chi. Except no one would be so wretched, and at the time of all-out war and the overthrow of all races, he would also send strong aphrodisiacs such as tiger and wolf medicine. Suchen shook his head and was speechless. He ducked into the city lord's secret room and took out all the Tears of God's Cry and Resurrection Interference Technique, start to merge. Ding. The demigod level Tears of God 1 has been selected as the main fusion object, and Resurrection Interference 1 has been selected as the auxiliary fusion object. The current minimum fusion points required are 100 million. Do you want to continue the fusion? Ding. Deducting fusion points *200 million, fusion is in progress. Fusion successful. Congratulations on obtaining the demigod level Forbidden Tears of God *1. Forbidden Tears of God. Level, demigod level. Function, explodes immediately after activation. The explosion range is 10,000 meters in radius and the damage power is 50 million points. Takes impact, shock, and magic radiation damage at the same time. It will also put the prohibited resurrection negative status on enemy units within the range whose strength does not exceed the demigod level. The effect lasts for 20 minutes. Description: the flagship product produced by the Mage Laboratory of the Great Yan Empire thousands of years ago was once the flagship product for killing the gods and demons of the 6 realms. It has been passed down to this day. There is not much in stock, but the power is still the same as before. Enemy units whose strength does not exceed the demigod level are prohibited from being resurrected for 20 minutes, well, that's enough. After all, it's just a semi-god level prop. Suchen doesn't want to use it to kill real gods and demons. It's enough to kill the largest number of semi-god level and lower 6 realm camp forces. At the moment, Suchen fused the remaining 59 copies of Tears of God one after another. A total of 12 billion fusion points were spent, and he finally had 60 copies of a powerful weapon that could prevent the opponent from resurrecting. Then, Suchen took out and kept putting the demigod level ancestor of bombs in the backpack space. The damage power of this thing is only 500,000 points, but the damage range is 100 times that of Tears of God, and the explosion range covers a radius of 100,000 meters. If you bomb players, especially an army of players with millions or tens of millions of people gathered together, the effect will definitely be overwhelming. Well, players are different from NPCs. Even if the resurrection is prohibited, players can continue to be resurrected after this period of time. Is there any way to delay their resurrection? Suchen thought for a while, and his eyes gradually focused on the advanced potent tiger and wolf agent sent by Saint Thief Chi. Add some strong aphrodisiac into it, I wonder what wonderful effects it will have. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 388. Just do it. Suchen started fusion again. Ding. The minimum number of fusion points required for the current fusion is 90 million. Do you want to continue the fusion? Well, what this guy Saint Thief Chi sent was just a high-level potion. If he wants the fusion to be successful and the effect of the fusion to be good, he needs to add more fusion points. Anyway, he has a lot of fusion points now, and he still has 1003. More than 10 billion. Ding. After deducting the fusion points *300 million, the fusion is in progress, the fusion is successful. Congratulations on obtaining the demigod level Spring Bomb Ancestor *1. Spring the Ancestor of Bombs. Level, demigod level. Function, explodes immediately after 10 seconds of activation. The explosion range is 100,000 meters, the damage power is 500,000 points, and the attack is 100% real damage. Takes impact, shock, and burning damage at the same time. After the killed unit is resurrected, it will automatically acquire the negative status Spring of Tigers and Wolves. The effect lasts for 12 hours. This status will not disappear if it dies again. Note, Spring of Tigers and Wolves can make units whose strength does not exceed the demigod level enter an absolute estrus state, and their desire for the opposite sex reaches the max level. Description: the real ancestor of bombs. One can destroy a giant city. At the same time, it has a high degree of stability and reliability. If your enemies know that you have such a powerful weapon, they will definitely have trouble sleeping and eating. After all, it is not only powerful, but also possesses the deadly power of tiger and wolf. This effect has an internal taste. Suchen looked at the function description of this Spring Bomb Ancestor, and an evil smile appeared on his lips involuntarily. Once killed by the bomb, the negative state Spring of Tigers and Wolves lasts for a full 12 hours. The thought of those players being resurrected finally, Suchen couldn't help but burst into laughter when he threw himself at a player of the opposite sex and was struck back to the resurrection point by a thunderbolt banned by the game. The key is that this thing will not disappear after death and will not stop until 12 hours have passed. With this 12 hours is enough for those players to die hundreds of times. Even if they react and choose not to resurrect for the time being, within 12 hours, these players will not be able to participate in the war. Well, there are still 9 copies of Advanced Potent Tiger and Wolf Agent in the backpack, and combined with a few bombs, this thing has a miraculous effect on players. Suchen immediately found the dwarf Lonely Mountain King Balan. "My brother, in addition to muskets, Do your dwarves have any bombs with a particularly large explosion range and an explosion power of at least 20,000 points? At this stage, all players who have changed careers for the second time are above level 50. Their equipment has at least a bronze set. Silver equipment is no longer considered high-end equipment. Even if you have some money, it is not a problem to buy a gold equipment. In addition, the high-end equipment is now most level players have popularized mounts. When the pet guardian skill shares life and defensive attributes, without an attack of more than 15,000 points, it is difficult to achieve an instant kill with one hit. Bahrain thought carefully. We dwarves, there are currently high explosive bombs, magic bombs, time bombs, explosive bombs, and air burst bombs. The largest explosion range is the air burst bomb, with a radius of 10,000 meters and a damage power of 50,000 points. However, this is specifically aimed at air units. If it is used against ground units, its power will be much weaker. Suchen nodded and asked, "How many of these bombs do you have in stock?" "There are about 3,000 magic bombs and time bombs each. The number of other bombs is very small, with more than 100, and as few as air burst bombs, only 30. However, I have summoned all the engineers to work day and night to try to come up with more bombs for tomorrow's war." Suchen thought for a moment and said to Balin, "Give me 20 air burst bombs, 100 magic bombs and 100 explosive bombs first. It's best if you give them to me now." "No problem. I'll order someone to bring him here soon." A dwarf sheep cavalry came to the city lord's palace as quickly as possible with the bombs Suchen wanted. Suchen opened the small space bag, which contained the 220 bombs he asked for from Bahrain. The start began fusion. Ding! The legendary air explosive bomb 1 has been selected as the main fusion object, and the advanced magic bullet 5 and the epic explosive bomb *5 have been selected as the auxiliary fusion object. The current minimum fusion points required are 8 million. Do you want to continue the fusion? Ding! After deducting the fusion points *20 million, the fusion is in progress. Fusion successful. Congratulations on obtaining the holy level Father of Bombs *1. Oh no! The bomb I collected from the goblins was called Mother of Bombs, and I fused it into Ancestor of Bombs. Now here comes another Father of Bombs. Suchen immediately checked the bomb's properties to see if it is what you want. Father of Bombs. Level, Holy Level. Function, explodes immediately after activation. The explosion range is 50,000 meters in radius and the damage power is 100,000 points. Also suffers impact, shock, blast, and magic radiation damage. Increases damage to air units by an additional 50%. It has a radius of 50,000 meters and a damage power of 100,000 points, which is stronger than the Mother of Bombs. Not bad, not bad. At that moment, Suchen fused all the remaining bombs. He immediately had 20 Father of Bombs in his hand. He took out 9 more and fused them with 9 copies of Advanced Potent Tiger and Wolf Agent. Father of Bombs immediately turned into Spring, Father of Bombs with the attributes of Spring of Tigers and Wolves. In Suchen's view, each of these holy level bombs is full of warm spring fatherly love. I believe that those players who enjoy such fatherly love will definitely be so grateful when the time comes. Keep moving. After doing this, Suchen checked the time and saw that it was less than half an hour until he was offline. We are now recruiting administrative officers to understand the migration situation of the 4 major races. Dear City Lord, currently all the 6 human duchies and the dwarves have moved into the commercial duchy, and are being resettled and deployed under the personal arrangement of King Anna. The migration of the Beast Tribe has almost been completed. The Saintess of the Beast Tribe is leading the Beast Tribe warriors to burn all the things that the Beast Tribe can use but cannot be taken away, and implement the strategy of strengthening the wall and clearing the wild. Because the elves moved late, they have only completed the migration of people around the border. However, the magic of the elves is more powerful than that of the wizard principality. With the help of the super-large teleportation array, I believe that the entire migration can be completed in 2 hours. Suchen nodded slightly. Just when he was merging Tears of God and Father of Bombs, more than a dozen cities were occupied by the Six Realms camp. Although they were all empty cities, the morale of the Six Realms camp, but it is getting higher and higher. Currently, the orcs and humans have lost 1/3 of their land area. When it comes online tomorrow, the speed of this attack will probably be even faster. This is still attacking the millions of elves. With all the armies of the Six Realms retreating, if the elves were also attacked on a large scale, the situation would probably be even less optimistic. At this rate, the real battle should begin 3 hours after it goes online tomorrow. Suchen sat on the city lord's seat, pointed at the table with his finger, and whispered to himself. At that time, the two sides will engage in an epic battle on the small border of the commercial principality. By then, we will all know how total war will go, whether the Six Realm camp will win the battle, or whether the free and independent camp will turn defeat into victory and switch from defense to offense. Tomorrow, I will get 3 super god level fusions again. Wait for it. God descends to earth. Shura's blow. Super speed, evil and mad transformation. These powerful skills have been upgraded to the god level. Brother, I can really let go and fight. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 389. The game is offline. After a short tidying up, the elders of major powerful countries in the world, as well as second-rate and above guild minds, have started real-life online meetings. However, the elders of Country Z and the Guild of Country Z were excluded. Does the government of Country Z still have the attitude of working hard but not doing enough? At the meeting, the elder of Country M, who was the host, said coldly. Yes, there has been no response to our request to blockade King's Landing or even hang King's Landing. At the same time, we also suspect that the government of Country Z may be colluding with the Dragon City forces, and there may be intelligence exchanges between the two parties. The elders of several powerful countries such as Country M, Country Y, and Country F narrowed their eyes. Is there any evidence? If there is evidence, they can attack in groups and use this as a pretext to launch a real-life attack on Country Z war. After all, so far, 6 cities or towns around the world have been transformed into game worlds semi-permanently. For 3 whole days, the game spaces in these 6 places showed no signs of dispersing. There is more and more evidence proving that the online game world of God's domain we are really going to slowly invade reality and change the real world. In order to continue their rule and power in the online game world, anything that stands in their way will be destroyed at all costs. Even, he would not hesitate to start a third world war. If Country Z was not one of the superpowers, with a huge military force and a vast territory, it would be impossible to take it down for a while, and there was even a possibility of being counterattacked. I am afraid that these old powers would have already joined forces to attack it. I'm sorry, dear elders, the government of Country Z has done a very clean job, and we have not obtained any evidence yet. Moreover, even if we use any means to find out anything from the major guilds in Country Z, we just know that they have been warned by the government of Country Z that they must not violate the ban in anything they do, otherwise they will be invited to drink tea. Ban? What ban? In all actions, follow the government of Country Z. The elder of State M stood up and shouted angrily, they are violating human rights. I want to sue him. Everyone was silent. The great elder of Country R said quietly, it has not been a year or 2 since we sued Country Z for violating human rights. But after all these years, has Country Z taken it seriously? What can we do to him? The elder of Country M was so angry that his eyes widened, but after thinking about it for a long time, It seemed that this was really the case. Rogue. This is a rogue country. Total war, let country Z eat shit. Going online tonight, the forces of the Six Realms must be allowed to kick out all players from country Z. All our actions will completely block country Z. Suchen's home. Mr. Yun, one of the 7 elders of Kingdom Z, came to visit Suchen in person again. As the granddaughter, Yun Feiyan naturally accompanied Mr. Yun here. Xiao Su, how confident are you that you can hold on to the battle tonight? Mr. Yun and Suchen said solemnly after chatting for a while. Suchen glanced at Yun Feiyan. If Mr. Yun could ask this question, it seems that Yun Feiyan did not tell his grandfather the secret of the time and space fortress. Well, this girl, the paper is good, she is looking towards him before she gets married, she can be his wife. Suchen smiled. Dragon City is invincible. Your question should be asking when can you switch from defense to offense. Old Yun was shocked. Suchen's words contained a lot of information. The fact that Dragon City is invincible means that the entire free and independent camp is invincible. In this way, no matter how powerful the Six Realms camp is, no matter how fierce the offensive is, the independent camp cannot be defeated. How much reliance does Suchen have to rely on to dare to say this? Moreover, everyone in the world is now worried that the independent camp will not survive tonight. But Suchen, on Chen's side, he was thinking about how to turn from defense to offense. The matter was so serious that Mr. Yun couldn't help but lean forward and stared at Suchen closely. Seriously. I don't talk nonsense. Suchen's expression was indifferent. Surprise suddenly appeared in Mr. Yun's eyes. But he soon regained his composure. He took out a cigarette, sat on the sofa and started smoking. He seemed to be weighing something in his mind. After a long time, he finished smoking. Mr. Yun solemnly said to Suchen, Comrade Suchen, in the name of the 7 elders of Country Z, I solemnly promise to you, in the battle tonight, Country Z will join the free and independent camp and fight to the death. Yun Feiyan, who was serving tea and pouring water, trembled suddenly when she heard her grandfather's words. Grandpa's words handed over the fate of more than 1 billion people in Country Z to Suchen. The whole country is united. It turns out that, Suchen's importance in the hearts of people like Grandpa is so important. At the same time, Yun Feiyan was overjoyed. Finally, the power of Dragon City is no longer just the 3 major guilds with hundreds of thousands of people traveling alone. This time, the entire Z, the capital of the country, walks side by side with them. After that, Mr. Yun had more detailed discussions and exchanges with Suchen. When will Country Z join the independent camp tonight, and in what way can it achieve the greatest results? Among them, several Z country elders, generals, and staff members consulted together. Originally, Suchen thought that with the current level and strength of Z country players, even if they defected at the last moment, it would not have much impact on the Six Realms camp. But after learning more about it, Suchen some unexpected surprises. I didn't expect that the government of Country Z would actually establish a strong relationship with the mysterious elemental tribe in such a short period of time. Although the elemental tribe is rare in number, it is even more powerful than the Titan tribe. And the elemental tribe are born magic elves, and any magic in their hands can exert earth-shattering power. I believe that tonight, the elemental tribe of Country Z will definitely give the Six Realms camp a big surprise. Unlike Suchen's side. At this moment, there are voices on the internet that are denigrating the Freedom and Independence camp and the Dragon City. What about wiping out the Independence camp? Unify the Divine Realm. Drive out Dragon City. Good luck. The Six Realms camp is having chicken tonight? Titles like have occupied the hot search news lists around the world. There is even news that Country E, one of the 20-nation alliance, has roped in the Dragon clan, which has always been aloof and arrogant, to join the war. As for what kind of dragon clan it is not clear whether it is a high-level dragon species or a low-level dragon species. In addition to cooperating with the Dark Temple to fight, country are also used the power of the whole country to invite the purgatory race at a great cost. These races that come from underground magma have been transformed from hell. It was born in a place where it also possesses terrifying power. In addition, various large-scale war engineering equipment have been developed and built by the guilds of the Six Realms Camp. With the army of the Six Realm Camps, they are pressing forward step by step towards the commercial principality. Countless news organizations and live broadcast platforms have already focused all their resources and attention on tonight's two major camps' total war. The number of people who clicked on the live broadcast and waited to watch it exceeded 1 billion during the day alone. Level. Countless people, as professional analysts, explain to everyone how the Six Realms camp is strong and how the free and independent camp is weak. Among them are former government advisors, professional gamers, international relations researchers, and resident live broadcast platforms. The top traffic up master. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 390. 8 p.m. The game is online. Ding. The artifact Dragon Emperor Jade Pendant successfully converts energy and gets you free attribute points *1200. 1200 points. Unknowingly, it has been 12 days since I got the Dragon King Jade Pendant. In other words, there are only 6 days left before the online game of God's Domain comes to reality. Suchen raised his hand and added 1200 free attribute points to his strength, and then looked at his talent status. Current number of Super God level fusions, 3. You can finally upgrade your skill level. Ding. Activate the Super God level fusion talent. The main fusion target Semi-Divine Skill God descends to Earth 1 and the auxiliary fusion target Heart of Divine Power 1 have been selected. Ding. Consumption of Super God level fusion times *1, fusion is in progress. Fusion successful. Congratulations on successfully raising your demigod level skill. God descends to Earth to God level. Ding. In the process of merging. Fusion successful. Congratulations on successfully raising your demigod level skill Shura's Strike to God level. Ding. In the process of merging. Fusion successful. Congratulations on successfully raising your demigod level skill Super Speed Evil Madness to God level. All 3 major skills have been upgraded to God level and can finally be used. I wonder how abnormal the current power will be. Skill, Shura's Strike. Level, God level. Occupational restriction, Wild Fighting. Active, 100% hits Shura's Strike which consumes experience value *0.1, cooling time, 1 natural day. Passive, Make Yourself Attack, with 100% probability of bursting 2 times attack damage, 70% probability bursting 3 times attack damage, 50% probability bursting 4 times attack damage, 30% probability bursting 5 times attack damage, 10% probability bursting 10 times attack damage. Harm. Damn it. Seeing the description of the God level Azura's Strike skill, Suchen couldn't help but utter a curse word. 10 times the attack. In addition to the original 2 to 5-fold increase in attack probability, an additional 10-fold attack damage has also been added. And the probability is as high as 10%. This means that on average, a 10-fold attack can occur every 10 times. With Suchen's current with more than 50 million attack attributes, coupled with the real damage blessing, it can directly deal more than 500 million real damage. It is much more powerful than the Juggernaut's Jump Slash. Let's look at my Super Speed Evil Madness, how far it has been improved now. Skills, Super Speed Evil Madness. Level, God level. Career restrictions, Wild Fighting. Reduces maximum life limit blood volume by 10% per second, increases basic attack power by an additional 200%, and increases basic attack speed by an additional 900%. Cooling time 30 seconds. I go. it increases the attack speed by an additional 9 times. In other words, if I activate this skill, I will have an attack speed of 10 times. And there's no time limit. Suchen's current automatic blood regeneration speed per second has reached 17%. After turning on super speed evil madness, even if 10% is deducted, there is still 7% blood regeneration speed. This is equivalent to Suchen now permanently having 10 times the attack speed. 10 times the attack speed, 10 times the attack, it's getting more and more abnormal, haha. Suchen continued to click on the third skill description of God Descends to Earth. Skill, God Descends to Earth, can be upgraded. Grade, God level. Level, 0, Blood of Gods and Demons, 0/10,000. Player restrictions, King's Landing immediately increases the size by 10 times after activation, and at the same time the health value is 1000%, attack power 1000%, defense power 1000%, movement speed 1000%. Skill duration, 60 seconds. Maximum level that can be upgraded, 100. Skill cooldown time 10 minutes. Well. Suchen was stunned when he saw the skill description of God Descends to Earth. Upgraded to the God level, the level of the gods returning to the earth has changed back to level 0. And each level up requires 10,000 copies of the blood of gods and demons. However, the maximum level that can be upgraded is directly increased to level 100. Based on the previous situation, if this skill is upgraded to level 100, it can increase Suchen's attributes by up to 110 times. In addition, the skill duration of level 0 is now up to 1 minute. The upgrade duration will naturally be longer in the future. Well, fortunately, I still have more than 160,000 copies of Blood of Gods and Demons. No matter what, let's upgrade it first. Anyway, a war is about to begin in the commercial principality. By then, are you worried that you won't have enough Blood of Gods and Demons to upgrade? Ding. Consume Blood of Gods and Demons *10,000, and your magical skill God Descends to Earth will be upgraded to level 1. Ding. Consume Blood of Gods and Demons *10,000, and your magical skill God Descends to Earth will be upgraded to level 2. Ding. Ding. Consume Blood of Gods and Demons *10,000, and your magical skill God Descends to Earth will be upgraded to level 16. Sure enough. After reaching level 16 God Descends to Earth, after activation, the increase in size and all attributes has reached 26 times. At the same time, the duration of the skill effect has also been increased to 86 seconds. Nearly 1.5 minutes. In this minute and a half within that time, all of Suchen's attributes were enough to be upgraded to the main god level. Even if the Six Realms camp summoned the Six Realm main gods, Suchen would dare to face the hard steel. At the same time, the beast Saint Vulpix, along with the beast warriors, had already everything that could be used but could not be taken away by the entire orc tribe was burned to the ground. It was considered as a last-ditch effort to settle on Suchen, the commander of the 5 tribes. An hour later, all the elf tribe also completed their migration. However, the footsteps of the Six Realm camp army, but they are pressing forward step by step. One big red server-wide announcement after another makes all players in the free and independent camp feel heavy. Ding. Server-wide announcement. The human race, the principality of chariots and cavalry, has been destroyed by the armies of the Six Realms. Ding. Server-wide announcement. The human race Jace Han principality has been destroyed by the armies of the Six Realms. Ding. Server-wide announcement. The human race Ice and Snow principality has been destroyed by the armies of the Six Realms. Another hour later. Ding. Server-wide announcement. The orcs have been destroyed by the armies of the Six Realms. Ding. Server-wide announcement. The elf tribe has been destroyed by the armies of the Six Realms. Ding. Server-wide announcement. The human race warrior principality has been destroyed by the armies of the Six Realms. Ding. Server-wide announcement. The human race storm principality has been destroyed by the armies of the Six Realms. Ding. Server-wide announcement. The human race mage principality has been destroyed by the Six Realm camp army. So far, except for the dwarves and the commercial principality, all the lands of the Five Clans Alliance have been occupied by the Six Realms. The army of the Six Realms has been directed towards the commercial principality located in the southeast corner. The fateful moment is finally here. Suchen stood up, his eyes filled with fighting spirit.